Hi guys, my name is Sunny and I'm a psychic. Why did I create this YouTube page? What psychic has a portfolio? However, I feel like my gifts are kind of different, to say the least, and I feel like there needs to be some type of clarity. There needs to be something put out there in order to explain what it is you're witnessing, what it is that's on my website. I was not connected to my gifts fully as a child. I would say they were kind of closed out. I reconnected with my gifts back in, I would say 2020, 2021. But I knew about my gifts, I would say, when I was 3 or 4 years old. That's when I experienced, I guess I want to say, seeing things. There were some odd experiences, and I just, as a child, it was too much, and I was not comfortable with these gifts. And I was raised by a mother who was Catholic. I was around like 8 years old, from a psychic, that I had gifts and that if I worked on those gifts, I would get better at them. And I remember telling my mom this, and she bought me my first tarot deck. But since we are Catholic, I felt extremely guilty about this, and I think after the first week I ended up throwing out the tarot deck. I couldn't do it. But I don't think the psychic experience has ever really ended, I would say. There was definitely a lot more things, random things. It wasn't consistent. It was not consistent, I will say that. But I never at any point thought I was psychic. What I always felt in my gut was that I was able to know things, feel things that I could not explain. But that maybe it was all in my head. That was the best way I could phrase it. I also felt very strongly that I was able to see spirits, and that the only reason I wasn't seeing them consistently was because they knew I was afraid of them. And I believed that I had a heart condition as a child, and that this would do something to me. This would maybe cause a heart attack, something like this is what I believed. And years later, I ended up getting a heart condition, several heart conditions. So I think that's what I was tapping into, was truth in that matter, because I am able to see spirits, but I choose to see them differently. I don't choose to see them in the way that typical mediums see spirits. I see them through channeling, which is a little bit different. And when 2020 happened, I was convinced that I was seeing the same type of spirits that I was seeing when I was a child, when I was 3 or 4 years old. And this had happened randomly again, I think about 5 or 6 years before 2020. And I forgot about the experiences I had when I was a child. And funny enough, I actually thought I had a vision problem because I do wear glasses, or I'm supposed to. So I went to the eye doctor because I would just randomly see these spirits, not realizing that this is what it was. I recognized them. They were identical to what I saw as a child, but I think I just didn't want to believe what it was I was seeing. And I've had this conversation with several people who have had these paranormal experiences, and I feel like there's something we all share in common, is that we don't want to believe what it is we experienced, so we kind of change the story, or we keep it to ourselves and we don't tell anybody about it because it's so odd, it's so strange, and there's no proof at the end of the day, and I'm sure it didn't really happen. I'm sure it wasn't what I thought it to be. So something like this most definitely happened with me, and I went to the eye doctor, the optometrist, and when I told him what was happening, his response, I'll never forget it. He said, "I think you need a lot more than glasses." That's what he said to me. And I'll never forget that. So years later, I ended up seeing these same type of spirits again. And I remember, I guess, you know, hoping it was just me, like, seeing things. I remember asking this person, you know, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" And this person was like, "No, I don't see anything." But I knew what I was seeing. But never at any point was I thinking I'm a psychic, you know, from everything I knew about psychics and mediums. These were two different things. I never thought you could have both gifts. You could be a psychic and a medium. But then things changed. I eventually felt like I was seeing my deceased cousin, and I knew I was seeing him in my dreams. And then I felt like my dreams were talking to me, and I knew at some points in my life my dreams were talking to me, but they came through in such odd ways, but there was something to them. And I didn't really know astrology that well during this time, so I didn't know that if you have 12th house placements, you know, this could be a psychic. This could mean that you are psychic. This could mean that your dreams could be talking to you. And I do have this going on in my chart. A year later, there were a lot of things going on in my life, and one of my friends told me about this psychic that I should go see, and I should get a past life reading. And I was very much into past lives. Like, I really believed in it, and I was very intrigued. And so I said, okay, I'll do this. And everything this psychic told me in this past life reading, I couldn't believe the things she said, she saw. It just, some of the things it connected to this current life, and I just, to this day, still touches me in ways, because I had never shared some of my deepest thoughts and feelings. They were so private, and she spoke about them. And when I say that, I mean that she was speaking about how I felt in these past lives, and I couldn't stop thinking about the past life reading. I just couldn't stop. And I felt provoked to get another reading, and then another reading, and another reading, and I was hooked. And in one of my many readings, she told me I was psychic. And she wasn't talking about a past life reading, she was talking about now, in this current life that I'm living. And I remember thinking, no. And the reason I was getting so many readings during this time was because my life felt like it was upside down. Things in my life were changing completely. I mean, I can't even tell you. It's like people I thought that were my friends were not my friends. Family members turned out not to be, you know, things just changed. Everything changed, and it was happening so quickly, so quick. It's like, it felt like there was no time to breathe. And it turned out this ended up being one of those dark night of the soul moments. And I ended up seeing so many things during this time And when I say during this time, I mean literally like probably 2 to 3 months. So many things I started seeing, and I didn't realize this was channeling. I was channeling. I was not only seeing synchronicities, getting numbers from the universe, but I was also channeling, not realizing I was channeling, because these spirits were coming in again. And I really thought I was losing my mind. Like, and I felt so alone during this time in my life. And I was truly considering signing myself in, because I did not know I was psychic. So when I was seeing things, I thought that was my mind that just lost it. And then even when the psychic told me I was psychic, I still wasn't putting the pieces together, because I just didn't believe it. I was thinking in my mind, no, a psychic is somebody who predicts the future with the crystal ball, and you know, that is them. And there was so much to learn, and I still haven't learned it all, but turned out I, was seeing my visions. When I close my eyes and I channel and I start seeing things, I can still see those things in real time, in a room, on the walls. I can see things like that, just like I can see spirits, but I just choose not to see spirits in that type of way, like a typical medium would, because it makes me feel uncomfortable, because I was not in touch with my gifts as a child. So that's how I feel. Maybe one day it will change, since I do channel every day, and my gifts are getting better, and I always seem to get in touch with new things about myself with these gifts, and I feel so lucky and so happy, and it's all still so surreal. Finally accepted that this is my life, this is my fate. I'm a psychic, and I decided I was never going to tell anybody. I was never going to tell a soul, because if I tell anybody, nobody will believe me, and then the people that believe me, they're not going to want to be around me, because they're going to think I'm telepathic or something like that. They're going to think I could read their thoughts, and they're just not going to trust me. And I didn't realize this was related to past life trauma, that something like this has happened before in my past life to me, involving magic and being a psychic, and it connects back to this life as well. And finally I just decided, okay, I am who I am. I am a psychic, and those who are real, those who love me and support me, will accept me for who I am, and they're going to know that I'm not telepathic. I can't read their mind. If they want to do a reading, if they want to channel with me, then that's different. But if not, well then, being intuitive and being able to feel how somebody else is feeling and that they don't feel good, that's different. And now that you know that I'm psychic, now that's just you reading into it. There's a difference. So I do experience that now, which kind of stinks. Or I can't any longer say, oh, I had a dream with you last night. Now it's taken on a whole different spin. I've literally been saying that line since I was a child, again, because I didn't know I was psychic. But I really always have been saying these specific lines, like, oh, I was just thinking about you the other day, or I just had a dream about you. Now I can't say these things without somebody in my life reading into it, without somebody thinking I'm trying to talk about psychic related things, or that it's automatically psychic related, just something of that nature, and that stinks. Or when it comes to the dating field now, it's automatically magic. It's all magic now. She's a witch. It's taken on a whole new. One day I remember sitting next to my mother and I felt very strongly out of nowhere tell her to close her eyes and ask her what she sees. Like, I will never forget this. It came out of nowhere. And I did, and she started seeing things. And this was the first time I was ever able to do this or knew about this. And the things she was seeing was extremely biblical. She was seeing something about the 10 Commandments regarding Moses. And I just remember thinking to myself, I can't believe it. What have we stumbled upon? And it led me to be more curious about whatever this was. I knew that feeling I felt so strongly out of nowhere must have been a spirit guide guiding me to one of my gifts. And sure enough, through practice and trying and doing this with so many people who have been nice enough to help me along the way, I've been able to, over time, figure out new things with this. And this is what I call my magic readings. This is where you are able to enter the Akashic Records yourself. It's almost like a VR virtual reality experience where you are entering a past life of yours, and you're able to interact with people, including your past life self, and you're able to talk to them and get information from them. I think it's pretty wild, and I love that the information people are able to get matches up with the information or the imagery that's on the cards, on the tarot, on the oracle cards, because it gives people peace of mind knowing they didn't make it up. They didn't make the experience up. It was real. And I like that. And I just love it. I just love it. I love it. And I hope people can get on board with this at some point in the future, because I'm all about it. I'm all about it. So a reason why I am so big on trying to help people who feel like they have gifts know what to do, or at least help them realize what is going on, because I will never forget how alone I felt and how crazy I felt just to find out I was never alone and never crazy. And I can't imagine how many other people out there are going through the same thing. And it would be so sad to think that there may be people out there who actually think they really are crazy, or even worse, I don't know. And it just turns out, no, you have gifts and you have been chosen to do something with those gifts, to heal people. And I'm a firm believer in that you were chosen for a reason, because you were trusted with those gifts. And I just want to help people out there. I want people to know that they're not alone. And if they feel alone, I want to help them in some type of way with my readings. Able to provide past life readings. I can give you any type of regular psychic reading that you may be looking for, such as, maybe a love reading, a psychic reading. And I have these services listed on my website that you guys can check out for yourselves. I also offer third eye activations, because this is part of my gift as well, where I am able to activate people to whatever gifts that they do have. But one of my favorite gifts that I'm able to do is have people channel themselves. So what I mean by this is they are able to enter the Akashic records. It's almost like for a limited time. It's during their reading, they are able to enter a past life of theirs. They are able to access karmic contracts, soul contracts, whatever it is, whatever reading they have decided to purchase, and they get to channel their own reading. And we know that whatever it is they're seeing or hearing or feeling, because they do actually see things and hear things, we know that it's not their mind making these things up, because whatever it is they end up seeing, hearing, or feeling, it matches whatever's on the card, which is really nice at the end of the day, I feel like, for the client. So they know that whatever experience they had was real. And I feel like that can really help them heal whatever it is they wanted to heal to begin with. Because unfortunately, with these types of readings, even people who are going to get hypnotized for past life regression, everybody thinks they made up whatever it is they saw in their head. And I feel like when we do this, it takes away from the experience. It takes away from the healing process, whatever it is we wanted to heal. So that part I love so much, and I truly enjoy it, and it's exciting because it's energy work, and I never know what it is we're gonna see, what it is we're gonna experience ultimately, even though I'm a psychic. But